Welcome back, all you lovely people. I hope you enjoyed Professor Sullivan's short little video there. Now, she ends the video by asking,
how much are we morally obligated to sacrifice our own pleasures and comforts in order to secure the basic needs of others?
And she calls this the question of the demandingness of morality. Now, we can ask ourselves, how demanding is Peter Singer when it comes to our duty to assist those suffering from poverty? That is, we see, I'll throw it up there, Singer's conclusion, there it is, you are morally obligated to assist those in poverty. But what exactly are we supposed to do? The clue here, I'll throw the argument back up. The clue here lies in that strong principle of preventing bad occurrences. As you can see, this is where we're saying, and if it is in your power to prevent something bad from happening without thereby sacrificing anything of comparable moral importance, you ought morally to do it. Now, the clue to this is that he's saying you don't have to sacrifice anything of comparable moral importance. That means you need to sacrifice as long as your sacrifice doesn't put you into poverty, right? Because now you would be making a comparable sacrifice. And so you don't have to reduce yourself to poverty. But so then let's throw the argument back up there. And so there's the argument as we've been seeing it. But now I can give you the conclusion that seems to really follow. Boom, there it is. And so now we see that what we're really saying is you are morally obligated to assist those in poverty until you and your dependents are only marginally better off than those in poverty. Now, whoa there, Professor Singer. Let's back this up. Beep, beep, beep. And you're like, what is happening here? Yeah, that seems really demanding because look, it sounds like you're basically going to have to donate until you are poor. Not in poverty. You'll stop before you go into poverty, but you're only going to be, as he says, marginally. And he said, that's his words. I'm just putting them up there. Marginally better off than those in poverty. So yeah, you're going to be poor, but not in poverty. And like I said, Singer is always up front with this. He doesn't want any illusions. And Singer, now throw that argument back up there. Singer's going to, what he's going to do? He's going to say, just because you don't like my conclusion doesn't mean I'm wrong. So go back over this argument. Where is the problem? And wow, now we're still really? That's what we're going to here? I mean, now you can see why Singer's a bit controversial. You're supposed to give until it hurts, right? But Singer's a nice guy, at least. He has sympathy for our suffering and trying to figure out this argument and not feel like terrible human beings. He says, I'll do you something. I'll do you a favor. I will give you a more moderate argument. So let's throw this moderate argument up and I'll point out some things about it. So he still thinks that we can agree with a basic assumption that suffering and death from poverty are, now he says, very bad. So that very is new. So he's going to say, I think we can still agree. It's not only bad, but it's very bad. So, okay. So that's our little modification to the basic assumption, just saying these things are very bad. Fair enough. Let's go back to that back up there. And then he says he'll grant us a more moderate principle of preventing bad occurrences. And this says, if it is in your power to prevent something very bad from happening, and we've seen what's very bad now, very bad from happening without thereby sacrificing anything of moral importance, you ought morally to do it. Now, the idea here is, it's a subtle point, but it's true. He's now not saying that you have to give until you're, comparably, there, just above poverty. You don't have to give that much now. So you don't have to give until it hurts. But you're going to have to sacrifice everything and anything that has no moral importance. I hope that makes sense. So again, you don't have to give to your poor, but everything that has no moral importance, that you will have to sacrifice because it's going to save a life, right? It's going to stop something very bad. And let's throw that argument back up. We can see we also get an unstated moderate assumption that says it is in your power to prevent the suffering and death from poverty from happening without you or your dependents sacrificing anything of moral importance. And again, we get the same conclusion from this, that, you're morally obligated to assist those in poverty. But again, what are we supposed to be doing? Yes, we're supposed to assist, but by doing what? I've given you a clue already that's not going to be by, going poor. But what will we have to give up? What will we have to sacrifice? And again, I'll throw it back up there yet again. The clue lies here in the moderate principle of preventing bad occurrences. And there it is. It's if it is in your power to prevent something very bad from happening without thereby sacrificing anything of moral importance, you ought to do it. And now the clue again here is that you don't have to sacrifice anything of moral importance. If it's something morally important, you get to keep it. So you're not going to necessarily have to go broke now, or, be just above poverty. But that does mean you're going to have to sacrifice, again, everything and anything that has no moral value. So you may not need to go into poverty, or at least, be very poor. But this conclusion does now say, let's throw it up there, you are morally obligated to assist those in poverty until you and your dependents are spending nothing on trivia or luxuries, is what he says. Trivia, he means luxuries. So all luxuries are going to have to go. And Singer does say in his other writing that you can probably live, he kind of updates it for inflation, but maybe $30,000, $40,000, maybe $50,000, but somewhere around there, you can live very comfortably. And everything above that is a luxury that can then be donated. So again, you're going to have to give up all your luxuries and donate that money to help those in poverty. And a lot of people still look at this like, geez, that still seems pretty demanding, dude. All luxuries, no more, no more new phones, new clothes. As long as I'm warm and not naked, and as long as I can communicate, I don't need a new phone, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. All luxury is gone. So a lot of people still don't like this. But I'll present an interesting little argument where people say that Singer has actually tricked us. He's given us this moderate principle. It's like a gift. Okay, just give up your luxuries. And people say, no. We're not falling for that, because there's an argument here that claims that if you accept the moderate principle, you're actually going to still have to accept that strong principle. And this is known as the accumulation argument. Yeah, this is the accumulation argument. The accumulation argument, here I'll throw it up. The accumulation argument says that the moderate principle of preventing bad occurrences, there it all is, immediately must lead you to accept the strong principle. And now you might ask, well, why is that? These seem to be very different principles. So what is this accumulation argument going to do to justify that move? And so what the accumulation argument says, it's another simple little argument. It says the moderate principle says to sacrifice a luxury. Okay, I wanted to watch a movie tonight on iTunes, rent a movie, $10 on iTunes, right? I think is that right? Or is it $50? I don't know. The price keeps going up. Whatever. Let's say it's $10. So instead of spending that $10 on a movie, I donate it to charity. This $10 can buy some anti-malarial drugs, and that can, really help a child especially. So instead of renting the movie, I donate the $10 instead. But of course, after that, so that's today. What about tomorrow? Tomorrow I'm like, okay, now I can finally rent that movie. But it's like, there's still people suffering. Okay, so I'll put that next $10 in. And then you can just start to seeing that every time I donate $10, there's still people suffering. And I have to keep giving up more and more things. So again, $10 isn't much, so I have to give up another $10 and then another $10. And I just keep repeating this because there's always someone who could use that extra $10 to really make a big difference in their life. Because again, world poverty is a big thing. It's millions upon millions of people. So I keep giving these $10 to charity. And basically, I'll just have to keep doing that until I'm poor. But again, I won't be in poverty because at that point I should keep that $10 to buy food. But I'll just keep giving that $10 give until I'm poor. And so I've ended up right with where the strong principle said I would end up, marginally better off than those in poverty. And that's the accumulation argument. Again, it's just saying that these small sacrifices that the moderate principle asks of us, those small sacrifices accumulate. They add up until I have made the big sacrifice as required by the strong principle. And I'm only marginally better than those in poverty. And then we could ask ourselves, well, what does Peter Singer make of all of this? Now, he does say, he's quite explicit. If you reread the paper, you'll see he says quite explicitly that he thinks the strong principle is the right principle anyway. He was just trying to be nice by giving us that. Thank you. By giving us that moderate principle. But it turns out that that's still just going to end up with the strong principle. Okay, that's cool. I guess he's not worried. He says, okay, that's fine. And then you know what the next thing he's going to say is, okay, let's throw up my argument there. Just because you don't like the conclusion does not mean the argument is wrong. So look over the argument. I will wait. Well, he's saying this. Singer says, I will wait. Where does the argument go wrong? Again, the logic seems there. Modus ponens, as I've said. So one of the premises is wrong. Well, which one is wrong? They all seem to be, again, the only way you could prove it wrong is if you yourself was in poverty, because then that premise, that wouldn't hold for you. But Professor Gray's not in poverty, so I'm not off the hook. And so I'm not going to tell you. I think this is a hard argument, and there's this is one of those things that a lot of smart people have read, and a lot of smart people then try to figure out, because they don't want to donate everything. They don't want to be poor. And so they have to justify, where does he go wrong? Which premise is it, or what's wrong? And I'll just say, I teach the course now here at UB. Hello. I teach the course on global justice. We read this paper again in that course. The argument, I say, goes on the whiteboard. And then we read a lot of other papers that try to respond to Singer's argument here. But it gets sophisticated, because a simple argument that seems very powerful, then it's going to require some pretty complex maneuvering to try to expose problems with it, because it has no obvious problems. That's why people keep reading this paper and arguing over it. So I'd say, if you want, look, hey, if that you think that is like a cool topic and you want to learn more about, duties to assist for those in poverty, or do we have any, or whatever, hey, take the course. You will love the course. It's a fun class. I love teaching it. But this isn't that course. This is Intro to Ethics. I just wanted to spend one day on the topic, and with the most influential paper on that topic, this paper by Peter Singer. And so, yeah, I think that's enough, though. I think you have enough to think about, tweet about, whatever you want to do. But you know what I want to do? Oh, yeah, you heard me. Pat yourself on the back. You're done with these videos for this module anyway. So get rid of that arm flab, pat yourself on the back. You're almost done with another module. All you do is need to, I guess, probably take that module quiz, maybe tweet a little. And yeah, you should be right as rain, I hope. As for me, of course, you know where to find me. I will be here. But until then, I think by now you know what to do. That's right. Take care. Stay safe.